Hello good people and welcome to the brand new episode of Natural Jules.
Respectable, chauvinistic, pacifistic son of a bitch.
And I spy with my little eye something beginning with an S. No. No. Yes, indeed, the snow. I'm sure we all know what snow is. Yes, correct, it's frozen water. But unlike frozen water on lakes or in your glass of alcoholic beverage, this snow forms from the vaporized water up in the atmosphere. At first it forms in the sort of like grains of ice, and given enough moisture in the atmosphere, the grains then combine into the snowflakes. Snow has created our Finnish unique landscape here up north because snow created a glacier on the last ice age. Enough snow comes down. This is how all glaciers actually form. Enough snow comes down from the sky and it doesn't have time or temperature enough in the summer times to melt, and it piles up and up to the huge mountain. It starts to form into solid ice block. And given enough snow on the top, it started to push the huge chunk downwards, and as it compresses, it starts to move aside like a cookie dough when you press it on top, and thus the movement scrapes the bedrock and removes the soil, and well, it creates all kinds of funny things like lakes and gorges, and it presses the earth's crust down even if it's a large enough glacier. So anyway, it's all down to this rather light small snowflakes that we see, which is just again frozen water. It's remarkable. And as the old saying goes, that there are no two snowflakes in the world which are exactly alike. And take a look at this scenery, for example. It's hard to believe that, but actually there is a point to it, because the grains of ice can form into flakes in so many different ways that it is actually possible. Not likely though, because as again there are quite many snowflakes in the world. And if you are ever wondered what is that crunching sound which you can hear when you walk in the snow in the freezing temperatures, it's actually those grains of ice breaking off the snowflakes. And as the temperature rises near zero, the crunching sound disappears because the force holding the grains together is weaker and the grains themselves are much smaller. The animals and plants have adopted the annual festive of snow, as it would turn the spruces. As you can see, the branches are very flexible and they bow down to the weight of the snow, and some birds dig hole in the snow that is very good insulator, and mice and mole and all the rest of it are digging tunnels underneath the snow. And rabbits also wear white in winter to disguise themselves into the snow. There's also an adaptation to the winter. The snow, indeed the snow, the thicker plants that you can see here that can support huge weight of the snow. They create a very important bit of the winter ecosystem. They provide vital sustenance to birds. Sea pods are all there. And obviously those which cannot support the weight of the snow, when they fall and get buried into the thick layer of snow, then they provide seeds once again for mice and all other rodents that live inside the snow. And as I said, the snow protects them not only from the harsh winter temperatures outside, it protects them from predators and what have you, but not all. Because, for example, and some owls can actually hear through snow. the mice and moles moving about, and then they can attack through the snow and catch the juicy mouses within. Obviously this is if the snow surface is sort of like this, so it's not too tough. But if there is a change in temperature, which means that the snow surface melts a little bit and then freezes over, then it creates sort of like layer of ice on top of the snow. And then when the tiny owls actually can break their necks on the surface of the snow. Now, as it is true that some animals do in fact benefit the large and thick layer of snow in winter times, other animals though seem to suffer from it quite a lot, especially the smaller deer, which we can see track in here, although that could be a dog because it's impossible to tell in such a steep snow because the snow gives in. But anyway, there's the track. Those small deer animals, they have to dig their food from beneath the snow in winter times, and when there's a lot of it, it is really hard job to dig it. And as the moss and lichen and that sort of stuff is not very nutritious, it's hard way to stay alive. But then again, the hare, for example, besides its white winter coat, it does have a sort of like a snowshoe in its feet, which supports it in the snow, so it can just skip along on the snow and avoid its predators like that. And as often in nature, whereas a thick layer of snow protects some prey animals, it also helps other predators, such as lynx, for an example. When it's hunting down smaller deer that can hardly move in thick snow, the lynx has a very large paw compared to its body size, and the large paw obviously supports its weight better in a thick snow, so it can move much faster and catch the small deer quite easily. The snow gives an opportunity to track down wildlife and specify them into the species. For example, here is a snow tracks of a squirrel, whatever. It has come from there and gone in there. And what do you know? Here's a P. That's a B, not P. And of course, if you are in the wilderness, get lost and tired and cold starts to kick in, you can also make a shelter from the snow, because it is a very good insulator. It has quite a lot of air in it, so it isolates you from the cold winter frost outside. Just pile up huge pile of snow and dig hole in the middle, make it sort of like an igloo. Make sure though that if you have a sleeping bag or your clothes even or whatnot, that you insulate them from the direct contact of the snow surface, because of course the heat melts the snow and it becomes a water, and if it becomes a water and gets into your sleeping bag and it gets wet, then you are, well, pretty much dead. You can also, if you are again in a wilderness, you can build a fire, melt the snow in your kettle and drink it, but a little bit of a warning there for you, because if you drink too much of the water that you made from snow, it doesn't have any nutrients or minerals in it, so it's rather poor in content. But you can drink it to survive, but just be careful with it and boil it before you do, because there's always some sort of pollutant in it. Either it's pee of a mole or deer or rabbit or poo or just some minor particles from the atmosphere. Doesn't matter, there always is something. And when you look at the snow and you see it's dirty, then it's really, really dirty. It's always just is somewhat pollutant. And obviously if you just shove it in your mouth as in snow, you need an energy to melt it into water, so it sort of extracts the heat from your body. That is also to be considered. What else there is to know about snow? I'm sure there's quite a lot, but we have a limited time. So it is harsh. it's cold and it's wet. It creates multiple problems, but it also solves a few problems for the life in this winter wonderland we called Northern Hemisphere. And it is utterly, utterly beautiful. And we find reasonably good ways to travel in it.